Are you looking for true personal freedom? The freedom to design a life you truly desire? Then you're absolutely in the right place. True personal freedom comes from when you take 100% responsibility and control of your money and your mind. Here you're going to learn ideas, tips, and wisdom that's going to help you bridge the gap from where you are now to your dream life in the future. My name is Randy Wilson, and welcome to the RichMind Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the RichMind Podcast. And today, let's talk about and go a little bit deeper into the goal setting process that I discussed on the previous episode. So if you're catching this and you didn't listen to the previous episode, I would encourage you to go back and do so. It is all about the 6-step process that I've created based on all of my years of training, all of my experience of setting goals, and I've broken it down into a 6-step process that I'm going to share with you in more detail today. But the importance of the episode previous is that the number one step and the first step, if you don't have this down, the rest of the 5 steps aren't going to be as impactful for you to be able to achieve your goals here in the upcoming year or any time of year. As I mentioned, this doesn't have to be a first of the year type of an exercise. This can be done at any time. This has been something that I've used for myself personally, and that, like I said, I've compiled all the data from my own personal experience. I've been to several weekend conferences, some retreats. I've gone through the books. I've just lived a life of just trying to set goals and achieve goals. And these are the 6 steps that have worked best for me. But as I mentioned, go back. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, do that first. Do the exercise that I encourage you to do. And then when you get done there, come back to this episode today, which is when we're going to get in a little bit more detail of the 6 steps. And as I mentioned in the previous episode, I went into detail a little bit more about the first step, which is the importance of desire. And without desire, nothing else really matters. The quote that I used in the previous episode was talking about Napoleon Hill. And inside of Think and Grow Rich, one of the key principles to achieve greatness in any part of your life is a burning desire. You need to have something that draws you towards whatever that goal is. And if you don't necessarily have that burning desire, then I would venture to say, and this has just been my own experience, you're really wasting your time. You're not really moving towards anything with passion, with purpose. And without that, it's going to be very difficult to achieve any level of success in any part of your life, whether that's financial, whether that's with relationships, whether it's a health goal, whatever that is. Desire is the key. So let me recap what those are real quick here. I know I just kind of went into the first step, but let me recap what the 5 are, and then we'll go into detail of them so that way you can have some action steps for you to start implementing these things right away. You can begin the process and doing the work and coming up with what your goals are for now or going into 2024, but then also you can use this at any time in the future as well. So let's go through those 6 steps. The first step, as I mentioned, number 1 is desire. Number 2, step 2 is a dedicated decision. And I'll go into why that's so important as well. Step 3 is to disassociate or disassociation. And I'll go into what that means. Step 4 is to do, the doing process of achieving your goal. Step 5 is discipline. And then step 6 is to deliver. So let's go into that. As I've kind of already alluded to the importance of step 1, so we're going to skip directly into step 2. I think you get my point. I've kind of beat that home as far as the idea that the desire is the first key, and without that, the remaining 5 steps are not going to be as impactful. So let's move on into step number 2. Step number 2, a dedicated decision, meaning it's almost a burning of the boats moment. You're going to burn the bridges. You're going to not stop. You're going to continue forward towards this desire that you've determined for yourself. And it's a dedicated decision. It's not just oh, well, I think I'm going to give it a shot. It's not we'll just kind of see how I feel in another week or two. In my opinion, that's where most people fall short when they set goals or intentions for themselves at the first of the year. They don't necessarily attack it with a dedicated decision. And my encouragement for you that if you can't get yourself to that point of a dedicated decision, that you found the wrong goal, you've got the wrong goal. You need to rethink it. You need to get it to the point where it's a white hot desire inside of you, where you can make that dedicated decision and keep moving forward no matter what. There's not going to be any distractions. There's not going to be anything, barring a world catastrophe, that's going to keep you from achieving that goal for yourself. And that can be any type of goal. As I mentioned, this doesn't have to necessarily be for any one specific type of goal. You can do this financially. You can do this physically, right? Your physical health. You can do this from a relationship goal. And it doesn't necessarily matter how big or how small. If you do these processes, you can achieve anything you desire in life. But you can also do this from a very small goals as well. And when I say small, I just mean they might not be as impactful on the big scheme of your life, but they're just as important. So if you can think about that in this way, you can obviously achieve greater things moving forward. So step 2, the dedicated decision. Can you get to a dedicated decision that, yes, this I will accomplish, this I will do, and you hold yourself to that dedicated decision? So step 3 is to disassociate. So what do I mean by that? What are the things in your life currently that you need to disassociate from? Get out of your life. What are the distractions? What is the things, the people, the devices, the media, anything, the weather? What are the things that you can control? And I get it, you might not be able to control the weather, so maybe I shouldn't have said that one. But what are the things that you can control that are in your life that you need to disassociate from? Okay, you don't necessarily need to eliminate them 100%. You can always just cut them back to a minimum. Meaning, if you have folks in your life that you can't cut out of your life, it's not that you need to go to zero. You just need to disassociate with them to the point where you can work towards and accomplish your goal because of your dedicated decision and the desire that you have for that goal. So make a list of the disassociations that you need to make within your life. Do you need to shut off your phone? Do you need to get off of social media? Do you need to quit watching so much television? Do you need to get outside and walk every day? Whatever it is, you decide what you need to disassociate from, and I encourage you to do so. Step 4 is the doing. So now we need to get into the step of, now that we've disassociated ourselves, we've had the desire, we've made the decision, we've eliminated the distractions. Now we need to get into the doing. What are the steps? What are the things that you need to do to achieve this goal that you've set for yourself? In my experience, when I've set a goal for myself, and you get really crystal clear on what that end result is that you're looking for, the how to do it will start to show up. You'll start becoming aware of different programs, different books, different YouTube videos, different podcasts. Different things will start to show up in your awareness once you make that dedicated decision and you get clear, crystal clear on your desire. The how will begin to show up. Another experience of mine, and I've had conversations with other folks as well, where they will say immediately, well, I don't know how to do, and you fill in the blank of whatever goal it is. I don't know how, which means I don't know what to do. The point I want to make is that if you go through the exercises of the first 3 steps, the how will begin to show itself. And when it does, if you've eliminated the distractions, you will then be able to step forward into whatever that is, whether you need to go watch something, whether you need to go listen to something, whether you need to go ask of somebody, whether you need to get a coach, whatever the next step is. You don't need to worry about steps 5, 6, 7, 10, however many steps there are for you to reach your goal. Don't worry about those steps. It's what is the first step that I need to do today. And for example, the health goal. Maybe, as I mentioned, you just need to get outside and walk. I get it. Right now, if you're listening to this in real time, we're in the wintertime. It's part of the country, including where I'm at now. It's not as nice outside as it could be, or that if I've got friends down in Florida and down in Texas, and it's a little nicer. But the point is that you can get outside. That could be the first step to your health goal this year, that when other things begin to show themselves, you're going to be able to step into those as well. So the doing, focus on what is it that you can do today? What's the first step? And then take that step. And then step 5 is the discipline. Now, this is probably going to be the hardest part, is to have the discipline to stick to your desired goal. But that's where, at the very beginning, if you don't have a burning desire, if this isn't something that you want very badly, this is where it's going to fall apart, is in the discipline piece. If you've made the dedicated decision, and I'm just going to use health, for example, for this episode today, as I've mentioned a few times about walking. So if you haven't made the dedicated decision that you're going to exercise, whatever that exercise is for you, whether it's walking, lifting, cardio, whatever it is, if you don't have the discipline to do it when you don't want to, when you don't feel like it, when the weather might be a little bit bad outside, when the snow's flying and you don't want to drive to the gym, when the holiday season is upon us, and man, you sure would really like to just have that extra piece of cake or extra piece of pie or extra whatever, and you skip that exercise routine that you've got for yourself, it requires discipline. And sometimes, and all the time, I would say discipline is the breaking point for somebody to really achieve their goals. So whether you need to find an accountability partner, whether you need to figure out ways to hold yourself accountable to the dedicated decision that you've made towards accomplishing this goal, who can you rely on? And it needs to be a trusted friend, not somebody that's going to beat you up over life, but at the same time, that will be there to support you. If you don't have the ability to do that from within, I would encourage you to find someone in your close proximity that can help you be more accountable, that will help you stay more disciplined in doing the processes and going for and achieving that big goal that you have for yourself. So if you do all of those 5 steps, we're going to get down to the 6th step, which is, this is where the fun part comes in, right? Is if you have the ability to have the desire, if you make the dedicated decision, if you disassociate from the distractions and all the things that are keeping you away from your big goals, if you then start doing, even if you don't know all the steps, start doing. And then if you continue to have the discipline to keep moving forward, you're eventually going to get to the part that I love, which is deliver. The 6th step, deliver, meaning you're going to begin to reach that goal. And the best part about the delivery piece is now it's time to start over, right? Now it's time to rinse and repeat. You've proven to yourself that you have the ability to achieve something drastically important in your life. And now you have the processes. Now you have the experiences to achieve big goals. And this is where, after having delivered on this experience, on this goal, it's time to rinse and repeat. Find out what the next thing is for yourself and go through these 6 steps again. Go through these processes. And I promise you, if you do this, if you do the exercises, you can write them out. You don't necessarily need to share them with too many folks. Keep them to yourself, except for maybe your accountability partner that's going to hold you to keeping on track for your goals. But the point is when you get to the end, celebrate it, enjoy it, but then let's move on to the next goal as well. So folks, I hope you found this message valuable. These are the 6 steps that I've compiled that through all of my years of trying to set goals for myself, going through and going to many multiple different weekend retreats, goal retreats, the different books, the different podcasts, the different, you name it. I've gone through a lot of material. And these are the 6 steps that I've pulled out that are the most impactful. They've been the most impactful for me. And I'm confident that if you can put these into action for yourself, you're going to find that anything that you really want, anything you really want, you can have it. And I encourage you to go out there and get it starting today. So I hope you have a fantastic day. If these last couple of episodes, if they've resonated with you, if you found them valuable, the only thing I would ask is if you would share it with family and friends. I'm trying to spread the message of the RichMind Podcast as far and as wide as I possibly can. And if you found this message valuable, I would just ask if you would to share it with your family and friends, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate that. So go out there, have a fantastic day, attack this new year. If you're listening to this in real time, We're approaching 2024. Attack this new year with these 6 steps, and I'm confident that in 12 months from now, you're going to be in a much better place than you are today. So have a fantastic day, and I look forward to coming back to you with another episode very soon. And until then, bye now. Thank you for joining me on the RichMind Podcast. I hope you found a ton of value in this episode. If so, I'd really appreciate a 5-star review, and you can also share it with your family and friends. And as my mentor Jim Rohn shared with me, in order to have more, you must first become more. And in order to become more, you must work harder on yourself than you do on your job. So go out there today and work harder on yourself to become more and build the life of your dreams. Until next time, my friends.